This may be a stupid question. But what do you do in the afterlife? Hi. Sorry if this question seems dumb. But when people say that their loved ones are waiting for them on the other side, then when your time comes and you meet them, where does it go from there? I know people say it'll be a peaceful and beautiful place, but what is it exactly? The common theme I see with ND posts is they see a white light, feel at peace, or sometimes greeted by a loved one. Nothing else explained after that. I haven't found a post on this thread that goes into detail what else is over there or what you do now that you're in the afterlife. Maybe the best way I can explain this is the Disney Pixar movie Coco lol. The main character Miguel accidentally transports himself on an adventure into the land of the dead. The skeletal spirits on the other side live in the afterlife the same way we do in our current lives. I know this is just a colorful kid's story, but is this similar to what we might experience when we die? Is the afterlife a place where your soul continues to live on when you're no longer in your physical body? Can't remember what other movie it was, but I just remember the person died and they were in the afterlife. Everyone was wearing white, it was a nice sunny day, people were like at the pool basking under the sun, fanning themselves, and sipping their drink. I know different cultures and religions depict the afterlife differently. But what do you imagine it's like? I believe in reincarnation or nothingness and not in an afterlife, but my ideal afterlife would be exactly like Earth but so much nicer, no worries, no violence, no environmental damage, etc. Interesting, but then why come to Earth for? Why would Earth be designed as a much worse version of an afterlife? We come to Earth to learn lessons to advance our souls. The harder our lives are, the more advanced our souls can become. Coming to Earth is like a student going to school. When we die, we go back home. Although science has yet to prove that there are other planets or worlds that host some kind microorganisms or light, etc., I still like to believe that there's something else out there. The universe is so vast and there has to be something else like happening out there besides our humanity. I think it's good we don't know in this life what it is. It makes the thought of an afterlife more interesting once we're ready to go there. My beliefs are that you return to your real home. Comfort will be provided to ease any lingering fear. A quick welcome home from loved ones. Then you will visit the Council of Elders, and review your life. Did you accomplish what you set out to do? None of this is judgy or shameful. After that you can really reunite with your soul group. There is no rushing to begin your next life. You can relax and enjoy being home. There are other things you can do. I've heard stories of souls practicing the creation of planets, and eventually life. You can visit other planets, travel the universe. There are many ways to evolve and learn without living a life in a physical body, but some lessons could take much longer to learn that way. Basically, if you want a place that looks like Earth, you can have it, with no worries. I know once we die we leave our physical human form and possibly ascend to another form. I'm sure whatever that form is we still will be able to communicate or interact with the surroundings. Like, are we just a ball of glowing light with no characteristics or physical features? Or say if I die at the age of 42. Will I look 42 in the afterlife because that's when my physical life ended? When I first was introduced to a death I was maybe 4. I somehow came up with the idea that our soul will take on many forms but will take a human-like shape of what we felt was the most time in our life. So if I die at 42, and the happiest time in my life was probably when I was 29. So I'd imagine that's what I'd be able to look like. I know the stuff I said sounds crazy. Lol, I feel so embarrassed starting this thread, but it's so interesting reading all your guys' interpretations. They have a library the way you can study all your past lives and learn your mistakes. You can learn how to make things that we have on Earth, such as leaves, mountains, things like that. You should read these books by Michael Newton. journey of souls, and destiny of souls. They are very interesting. I'm currently reading The Afterlife Unveiled by Stafford Beatty. It's a collection of quotes from communications with mediums from deceased spirits who talk about their time in the afterlife. Apparently it varies from the Summerland relatively unevolved souls who live in a sort of eternal vacation, doing some of the things they used to do on Earth, but without hunger, pain, or the need to earn a paycheck, while over time those souls transcend to higher planes of contemplation and more abstract activity. The Summerland also has different regions correlating to different cultures on Earth, but it's possible to travel between them, and in fact easier to travel than it is on Earth. One spirit, Leslie Stringfellow, talks about going with some of his friends from the early 20th century America Summerland to visit China's Summerland and listening to a concert there. So to wildly conjecture, a Latin American Summerland might resemble the one in Coco, while people chilling around the pool can happen in any and every culture where people value hanging out in the sun by the water. I am not really a hardcore religious person, but I do believe in a God or a higher existence than the one we're in now. I remember always going to church as a child, and the priest would always preach about doing God's work so you can be welcomed into heaven. I remember if I do something bad, my parents would taunt me and say things like, "You're not gonna go to heaven." I used to get terrified as a child, and then when my parents would say it too often, because I was naughty lol, I actually stopped for a moment and thought, is not going to heaven like not going to Disneyland or something? And then questioned what this place actually looked like. I don't think the afterlife is like our lives here. I believe it's completely different. Our lives here are what we live as humans. This is a human experience. When we die, we aren't humans anymore. So the experience ends here. Thinking there might be an afterlife with buildings, teachers or other jobs, human activities and all, is normal, because we are human and we can't imagine a life different than ours. But think about it. Every creature on Earth has a different way to live. Some creatures live underwater, etc. Plus, the Earth isn't the only planet. There are billions of other planets in the universe, and life there must be very different from here. Plus, if the afterlife was like the life here, then our experience here would be completely pointless, right? This is why, I believe, after all I'm not dead obviously, I don't know the truth, that the afterlife has pretty much nothing in common with our lives here. As to your question itself, I couldn't really tell. I think you make one with God and the universe. In many NDE people say that time doesn't exist anymore. Here on Earth, there are minutes and hours we need to occupy. If we do nothing, time flies and we get bored. But if time doesn't exist, maybe we just don't have to occupy ourselves, and we can't get bored. That's just a theory though. I like to think of all the possibilities.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe our channel.